we just had something crazy with the safety car at the Silverstone Grand Prix, and I think Ferrari made completely the right decision here. I think also it shows that Michael Masi really tried to do the right thing in 2021, and I have a very simple fix for all of this that would prevent this drama from happening ever again. Okay, so just to recap what happened at the end of Silverstone Grand Prix, and I was there yesterday and I spotted some things that actually came to fruition today. We had Max Verstappen crash at Stowe Corner with like 5 laps to go. Looked like some kind of error issue or a mistake or issue with the downshift. He crashes. He's in the gravel. He doesn't hit the barriers. That means that the running order is Charles Leclerc in the lead, having a great Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton sensationally in second, albeit he's on some really old, hard tyres. Kimi Antonelli's way down the order because he had a load of drama. But George Russell's in P3 on some like fairly old medium tyres. Okay, he's had a massive dramatic Grand Prix as well. And Lando Norris is behind them, okay? Now, at this stage, Charles Leclerc has enough time, enough gap to pit. So he actually pits, and he goes on fresh soft tyres, and he stays in the lead. Lewis Hamilton, just like he had in 2021, didn't have enough time to pit and stay out in second place. But he pits, okay? So he pits, and he goes on to fresh soft tyre, the tyre you want to be on for a safety car restart. George Russell, again, sensationally, decides not to pit. And he overtakes Lewis Hamilton while Hamilton's pit lane. It's only about a couple of seconds in it, by the way. But he overtakes Lewis Hamilton. So Hamilton's now in third. Lando Norris boxes. He's on fresh tyres. He's in fourth. Isaac Hadjar's on fresh tyres in fifth. In fact, pretty much everyone all the way down, apart from Kimi Antonelli, actually boxes for fresh tyres. So we now have a situation where we're behind the safety car. Charles Leclerc in the lead on soft tyres. Immediately behind him is George Russell on what are turning quite old mediums. And in third place, we have Lewis Hamilton on softs, and behind softs all the way. Okay, now Max Verstappen's car hasn't hit the barrier. They get the truck out to lift it up, and they're recovering it. Okay, and the laps are whittling down. But with a couple of laps to go, all the cars that have boxed to put soft tyres on haven't caught like the back of the snake. Okay, and that means we're running out of laps. Now, at this point, is looking actually like Hamilton is going to finish P3, but I still think this is the right strategy decision from Ferrari if we're going to finish behind safety car. However, there's another massive controversial twist because the safety car says, okay, all the lap cars unlap yourself, and they all come through. And then on the same lap, the safety car says, right, they've all unlapped themselves, we're now going to go racing. The message comes out on race control, and actually the lights go out on the safety car. Like the lights actually go out, like all the way really late in the lap, like almost coming into Stowe Corner. However, right at the end of the lap, the lights come on, and the Mercedes AMG safety car doesn't come in, and that means that this is looking really good for the Mercedes AMG of George Russell. Like, let's see how that goes down. The reason for that, I think, is technically right, which is that the rulebook says, and it was the same in 2021, that when the message is given that lap cars may unlap themselves, the safety car comes in at the end of the following lap, which is actually what happened in the end. The safety car came in at the end of the following lap, which is the very last lap, and the cars just went over the line in procession. It was a sham ending, really. There was no racing to be had. Now, that is how it works according to the letter of the law. Obviously, though, because factually all lap cars had unlapped themselves, we could have gone racing. We could have gone motor racing. And that's what Michael Masi did. Michael Masi did that. He said, let's go motor racing. The cars have unlapped themselves. I'm going to use my discretion to call in the safety car this lap, and we'll have a lap of racing. Now, he fudged it more in 2021 because not all cars unlap themselves. That's not an issue here. All cars did unlap themselves. There's some people saying that the Aston Martins were too slow, and that's why the safety car didn't come back in. When I was at Silverstone for this weekend, the Aston Martins looked like they were dropping off on the formation lap, by the way. Like, they were 5-6 seconds a lap slower. Now, here's why Ferrari made the right decision, because remember, they boxed Lewis Hamilton. They actively pitted him. Let me explain this to you. If they decided not to box Lewis Hamilton, so he stays out on really old, hard tyres, George Russell, Lando Norris, Hadjar, they're all going to box, as they all did apart from Russell, on soft tyres. So he would have a load of cars behind him on soft tyres, okay, if he had not boxed. If then we did go motor racing for a lap, which is always like going to depend on how quickly the car's recovered and whether the race director does some discretion. So if you go motor racing, the worst outcome for Lewis Hamilton, having not boxed, could be a P4, a P5, a P6. Like on that long lap at Silverstone, he could lose a ton of positions being on that ice-cold tyre. Even George Russell said on his mediums, they were ice cold. If they'd gone racing, George Russell would have lost a load of positions. So Ferrari, by boxing him, they took that scenario out of there. Now, Ferrari's worst position with their strategy choice was a P3, really, because Lewis Hamilton's on fresh soft tyres and the same tyres as the cars behind him. The cars behind him, you know, Hamilton had a really great start in the race, the turbo and everything. He has a really good chance, if it restarts, of actually really getting P2 and overtaking George Russell and not losing positions behind him. So Ferrari did a strategy by boxing him. Their worst outcome, really, was P3 behind safety car. Their best outcome was probably P2 without safety car, and those are probably the likely outcomes in those scenarios. Whereas if they hadn't boxed him, their best outcome would have been P2 behind safety car, but their worst outcome without safety car could have been a P4, P5, P6. That's why I think actually it was the right choice for Ferrari to make, as weird as it sounds. And they had Charles Leclerc in the lead anyway, so it's an interesting dynamic for Ferrari. Now, there's a very interesting way, I promise I'll tell you, and by the way, if you like this video, please subscribe, and please, more importantly, leave a comment with what you think, okay? It's really important what you think. I was at Silverstone yesterday with YouTube and F1, so great thanks to them. So I can kind of relay actually what the fan thoughts are, which is your thoughts. So please put them in the comments. The easy way you deal with this is when Max Verstappen crashes, or when Latifi crashed in 2021, and the safety car comes out. As soon as that safety car comes out, okay, if the race finishes behind that safety car, as it did today, effectively, you just have your race results be what it was when the safety car was called out, but obviously the driver who caused the safety car is knocked out. That's a simple way of doing it. Then you can gamble, but if the safety car, you know, stays out all the way, you're not punished. So there's a lot to take in there. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.